The following episode has been sponsored by Necronomicon Press. For the newest and oldest of Lovecraftian weird fiction, poetries, fanzines, and more, visit Necronomicon Press at necropress.com. Tell them the CAK sent you. Tales of drifting vessels devoid of life, found wandering all the oceans, have been more common through history than one may think. From small lifeboats to enormous ships, maritime books continue to record to this day the discovery of what are known as ghost ships. But imagine one such ship that was found with people still on board, and every one of them had perished in a way that left their rescuers chilled to the bone. The mystery grew as witnesses recounted what they saw, what they experienced, and what really happened to the Ourang Medan, the ship of the dead. Some accounts have the event taking place either June of 1947 or February of 1948. However, most retellings and first-hand accounts agree on the following. On that dreadful day, several stations and other ships around Indonesia picked up distress signals coming from the Malacca Strait, located between the Malaysian mainland and Sumatra. It was from the Dutch ship, the SS Ourang Medan. Comparing notes from other stations confirmed the first and last messages they did receive via Morse code. The first message came through. All officers, including captain, dead. Lying in chart room and on bridge. Probably whole crew dead. The next few were indecipherable, possibly from the sender panicking as he tried to tap out the code. But the final message was just 2 words. Words that the receiving operators found most disturbing. I die. With the help of nearby radio stations, they were able to redirect local ships to the area to aid the Ourang Medan. After several hours, the Silver Star, an American merchant ship, was the first to locate the Medan. It was powerless, drifting in the currents of the sea with no signs of any damage. No crew was seen on board, but the Silver Star hailed over as standard practice. No response came, neither by sight nor sound. The Silver Star pulled along the Medan, and the captain arranged a boarding crew to investigate. Little did they know, when they returned back to the Silver Star, they would come back as haunted men. Bodies. Endless bodies of the crew were found dead across the open deck of the Medan. Surprisingly, there were no signs of blood or any wounds. Each sailor appeared to have died of fright, their mouths stretched open as if they were still screaming somehow in the afterlife. Eyes widened by the sight of something terrifying, and their hands and arms outstretched as if defensively warding away their attacker, but they were locked in rigor mortis almost instantly upon death. Even the dog that was found on board was found dead with a frozen snarl on its face. What was it that overpowered and drained the souls of all life on board? Whatever it was, it had already caused the bodies to decay at an accelerated rate. Reluctantly, the boarding crew continued on in hopes of finding someone still alive who can explain what happened. Their hopes, however, would lead them to something even more dreadful. The captain of the Medan was discovered on the bridge, along with the remaining crew, engineers below deck, and officers in the chart room, all dead in the exact same manner, staring in wide-eyed trepidation, fending off some otherworldly aggressor. Finally, the operator was found at his station, deceased next to the very radio he sent the final distress call, I die. Further searching of the ship found no damage or destruction to the ship itself. No signs of any other life or uninvited forces such as pirates. Strangely, as the crew entered the boiler room, they found the furnace still ablaze at temperatures of over 130 degrees, but the room itself was ice cold like a walk-in freezer. This was enough for the crew to make a hasty exit back to the Silver Star. Back on board, they began telling their captain and crewmates all the abhorrent details. It was decided best to attach a tow cable to the Medan and bring it into the nearest port for further investigation. As if aware its secrets would be revealed, smoke began to bellow out of the pits of the ship, followed by a fire without reason or logic of how it started. The Medan was quickly vacated completely by the Silver Star crew and tow lines severed. Immediately after, the Medan violently exploded and sunk to the depths of the ocean, burying all of its existence and the remains of its crew in a watery grave. So what did happen to the Ourang Medan and its crew? Researchers and hardened skeptics have come up with several possible explanations, some based on evidence, and some based on the lack thereof. One possible scenario is that the ship was transporting cargo containing potassium cyanide and nitroglycerin that led to the explosion. However, this theory does not explain the earlier mass death of the entire crew. Another proposed, though nefarious idea, involves the intelligence community of the West. It's speculated that the Medan was covertly transporting chemicals from Japan, in particular from Unit 731, known for the horrific chemical and biological experiments committed during the Second World War on imprisoned soldiers. During the transit, a rogue wave could have shifted a container carrying lethal toxins that escaped and enveloped the crew. Those involved in the operation had the existence of the Ourang Medan almost entirely wiped from records. What furthers this theory was that there was absolutely no listed registries of the ship at any time in the world. Even more perplexing was that the registries were also missing the listing of another ship, the Silver Star. Skeptics have pointed out that the lack of data of both the Ourang Medan and the Silver Star, along with the unconfirmed date of the event, and the fantastic sea story that would seem to be considered at best Lovecraftian, proves that this whole tale actually never happened. Maybe this was all just another fictional tale told by sailors to entertain and scare the newer, younger mates. Then again, just as you think no evidence exists, careful research reveals a reality to a myth. The confusion on the date of the event could be due to mistranslations, as the event was first printed in Dutch papers in 1948, followed by a report in 1952 by the United States Coast Guard. Also later discovered was that the Silver Star did exist, but it was listed under its past registration before it had been purchased and renamed, previously known as the Santa Juana. More explanations will be written about and discussed, from alien encounters, angered ghosts of sunken ships, carefully planned pirate raids, and several others. It wasn't until the new millennia that a twist to the tale added more intrigue. Maybe there might be something that ties the intelligence community after all. On May 23, 2003, the Central Intelligence Agency declassified a top-secret document specifically naming the Ourang Medan. In a private letter written on December 5th of 1959 to the assistant to the director of CIA, Allen Dulles, by an individual named C.H. Mark Jr. He recounts the tale of the Medan as it was reported in the Proceedings of the Merchant Marine Council. But it's what he says in the letter, and how he says it, that not only leads to more questions, but will leave the hair standing on your skin. In quotation marks, he asks if it is related to something from the unknown. He will go on to write, "I feel sure that the SS Ourang Medan's tragedy holds the answer to many of these airplane accidents and unsolved mysteries of the sea. Also, I've often thought about the many sightings of huge fiery spheres rising from the sea, or disappearing into the sea, by ships' captains and crews in the 18th and 19th centuries." Mark would later address many records of such events going as far back as 216 BC, including many fires in the skies that would be seen around the world by soldiers, knights, and large masses of people. He concludes, "Yes, the enchanting sea. What terrifying secret does it hold? I feel sure that the SS Ourang Medan tragedy also holds the answer to this secret." Both times he writes the word secret in quotations. What did he mean by secret? And why did he ask for the opinion of whoever he wrote the letter to? And who did he write that letter to? The name was redacted upon release by the CIA. So which particular assistant to the director Alan Dulles? Why was it labeled top secret, and why that name was redacted upon its release now remains yet another mystery of the Ourang Medan. The tale of the Ourang Medan continues to be retold and re-examined in recent years. It has even inspired a survival horror video game in 2019. But what do you think? Did the Ourang Medan encounter something supernatural? Was it part of a covert transit that turned fatal? Or was it just another tall tale in a sea of many mysteries? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and join us as part of our Rad Cats of PodCAK at patreon.com/thecat for as little as $1 a month. I hope you enjoyed this tale and don't come back haunted as those men on the Silver Star, with those faces forever etched into their memories. Until next time, sleep well, dream deep, and always let your mind be intrigued.